Hi, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. This is the trade review for ES and NQ for August 5th, 2013. The legalese really quick. Nothing in this video on my blog or in my Twitter or StockTwit stream should be considered trading advice. It is purely for educational purposes. It should be taken that way. Trading futures is extremely aggressive and you can lose your entire investment. Make sure that you consult with an investment professional to make sure you're well suited to trade futures before deciding to do so. So on with the education portion of our video tonight. So this is going to be short, mainly because the range sucked almost all day today. If we'll look at the market profile for ES today, we will see that two things. The overwhelming theme is that buyers are in control. We've been going pretty much straight up for quite a while now. You'd practically have to be a dead person to be unaware that the market's been going up and that buyers are primarily in control. Underlying the structure of the market is bullish and that we're probably moving higher. Playing against that, within that context, a pullback is certainly reasonable. And I would look for a pullback somewhere between, we had a ton of closes right in this area, so the 1686 to 1682 level, maybe if we really got extended down to 1676, would seem like an area that if we do get a pullback or quote unquote a correction, that would be the area where we would pull back to. And certainly into the 1694, 1696 would not be a stretch. Followed a little bit lower by the 1686, 1688 area. So that being said, and playing against the larger picture of buyers in control, we also have the seasonality of it being August, and there's just very little to push the market. Volume is abysmal, and basically we had here in this area was a bunch of extensions up and down that all failed. They kind of all came back down into the middle. And my thinking is right now, just kind of in one of the possibilities that I keep my mind on is that if we have these range extensions, that my guess is that they'll fail and we'll kind of fall back into the range. So similar here, if we extend up towards the 1610, 1612 area, I imagine we'll fall back in. If we fall down towards the 1688, 1686 area, my guess is we'll push back towards the middle area here it's hard to tell how long, but that's going to be my overriding thesis as I'm trading, which means I want to trade the edges and I'm not looking for extreme moves. So that being said, August, the volume's abysmal. I don't look for big pushes, and I expect pushes down to get rotations up pretty much at every level, because I just don't think there's enough strength to blow through any one particular level on the first touch. Trading slow summer days can require extra skill, and it's actually one of my weaker points that I am resolved to work upon. So when we opened, we pushed down, we obviously gapped down. There was almost zero attempt to push and close the gap in the first half hour. Actually, there was no attempt. And I did, if you watch my tweets, I did take a long right at the top of this zone at it was 17 and 3/4, 170075 was where I went long. And I always talk about your stop has to fit the trade. And so if someone took the trade the same place where I entered and they try to use a 1 or 2 point stop, they stopped themselves out of the trade is all they did. It came right back to the middle of the back of the zone. The entire zone is a valid area, and you got stopped out and you took a loss for what was an excellent trade location. In my opinion, stops need to be anywhere from usually 2 to 3 points, maybe 1 to 3 points behind the back of these zones. On average, I'm using 2 point stops behind the back of the zones. And when I say I'm taking an aggressive long, it's only aggressive because I'm going to need a 4 point stop, 3 3/4 point stop to make this trade work. But if I don't use that stop, I won't get my reward. And those who didn't ended up being stopped in the back. Now, a lot of the clients that I coach They focus purely on taking middle to the back of the zone. There's a reason for that, and the reason is they can use smaller stops, and they would rather forego the opportunity of taking the trade than having to take the larger stop. And if that's in your trade plan, that's fine. The key to stacking chips is to already, first of all, predetermine before you enter the trade. Really, in my case, before the market even opens, I want to eliminate what I call unnecessary decision making, meaning I already know exactly the size I'm going to use. It's not a decision. I don't have to worry about it. So I can eliminate one portion of a thought process that might go in. I know the stop that I'm going to need to use. There's no thought process. I'm not guessing what the stop needs to be. I know. Again, so I'm not thinking. And when I enter the trade, I put in my stop, and I usually will go ahead and put in my target. Okay, and so looking at this trade a little bit closer, if you entered this trade anywhere, and I mean anywhere in this area, from top to bottom, you got your 2 points. Obviously, from back of the zone, you had an easy 2 points, and you had a potential. I did have several clients enter at the back of this zone, 16.99, and they had a potential 6-point trade on their hands. Now, the inverse was true. On this first touch of this white zone, I took a short right at the front of this zone. Again, this is a very challenging area to if you can't take a large stop or what I would consider an appropriate stop on this trade. The stop needs to be back here, and if you choked on it, you ended up stopping in the back. Now, in my particular case, when we didn't got a rotation down, my concern today was for chop that did occur in this area, this whole entire afternoon chop fest that we had, and I didn't handle the trade very well. I actually ended up just taking a flyer to see if it would work, and what happened to me, let it be a great example to everyone out there. I did not use an appropriate stop on the trade. I put the stop 2 ticks above what was then the high from this point. I got stopped. The market rotated on up to the back of the zone, came down, and eventually rotated from the front of the zone all the way down to 1700. So it was a potential 3-point trade. I certainly had my 2 points in there, and instead I ended up only making 1.5 points for the day, which is great. I'm very grateful to make money. However, there was more in this trade, and if I look back on it, I would certainly criticize, and I put in my notes that an area of improvement is that if I'm going to take a trade, that I need to be willing to accept the entire risk and put the stop at the appropriate point. As it was, that didn't come to pass. I took the loss, and then I decided pretty much that I was done for the day at that point. The only other trade, we could take a look at the NQ real quick. It was a similar story, only NQ gave us a sweet opening right into pre-market support from overnight. Along here, obviously you needed a reasonable stop, which I usually consider 4 to 5 points behind the back of the zone, and in this particular case it's rare, but I did just simply a single zone here. And if you took this trade, you did have it move against you just a little bit, but look at the beautiful rotation up, and eventually from what was 31.33 all the way up to 31.40, a 7-point rotation. And again, I did not take the short in NQ, and the reason for that was that it was relatively stronger off the open than ES was, and I should have taken both trades, was the bottom line. Summertime can be hard. Let's just talk about that for a minute. Summertime is hard because when the trade slows down, first of all, a 4 or 5 point move can take forever in summertime. And all of us have our own unique challenges. For example, I'm dyslexic, and I have a hard time being patient with trades, truly, truly patient. If they're not moving in my direction, I tend to get antsy. And so I prefer faster moving markets, as I'm sure everyone here does. The other issue is that it can really lull you into making poor decisions, and I get concerned with that. The best part of this move, where we had this rotation down, both here and in the NASDAQ, came in during NYSE New York City lunch. And so, and then at the end of the day, look at this. If I believe FT71 was the one who put it out around this time. He said, gun to head, will the market go up or down at the end of the day? Well, gun to head, hell, it didn't do jack. I mean, look at this movement. This is just crap, folks. If you're trying to trade this, go rent a movie. There's nothing to do here. This sucks. I have no problem saying it. It totally sucks. Let me see if I can find what the ES looked like. This is the ES. Again, look at this. We basically just bounced between these two zones in a tight range. I mean, this is untradeable, and this is a place where people who place small losses, small stops, get murdered. So if I was going to take away from this, I don't expect tomorrow to be much different than today. It's going to be a tight zone. I want to get it done early, preferably before 10:30 in the morning Central Time. I want to have my money in my pocket, and I want to move on. Even if it's just a point or two. It's summertime. The range is compressed. My goal is to make money and stack chips. It's not to trade. My goal isn't to trade. It just isn't. It's to make money. I'm here to make money. And I want to build my account, and I want to build it in the most efficient way possible with the least amount of emotional and investment from my behalf. And I want to continue learning. So, again, my focus in the morning, I can already tell you, will be in the first 2 hours of the day. I'll look and see where the white zone is going to set up in the morning, and looking at the profile, we learned nothing new. We learned nothing new today about the market. We pretty much just had a completely inside day, and I wouldn't be surprised to see tomorrow be inside. It'll be a nice surprise if it is. We do have a data point in the morning, and so my goal will be to focus on being very patient, only focusing on the zone. And my goal for tomorrow, since I screwed up, and it'll be my goal for the rest of the week minimum, right? Because I always try when I have a goal to improve one thing that I'm doing, to continue doing one thing that I'm doing well, and improve one thing that I'm doing poorly. So the one thing I did poorly today was I entered a trade without accepting the true risk. I decided to cut it short, and at the end of the day, I cost myself profits. The second goal, something that I am doing well, that I look to continue to do in the morning, is I'm taking my first trade extremely well when it's not in the white zone. I'm getting a really good read, and I am really nailing the zones. And so I'm going to look to continue that and continue to push to even get better at coming in with my zones. So sometimes you feel a little corny when you're trying to improve something you're already doing well. But the only thing I did poorly today was I didn't manage my stop on the trade properly. I messed with it, and I had to pay a price for it. But my entry, my stop loss, and my exit on my first trade were excellent. And then I did a really good job not looking for trades that didn't exist in the afternoon. So that's how a trades. That's how a pro trades. And I am extremely tired. I've been up a long time at this point, so forgive me for that. And I'm looking forward to making some money tomorrow. I hope y'all are too. Have a good night, and remember the two primary rules of the market. The market doesn't care what you think, and anything can happen at any time. And then the third rule is you don't need to know what's going to happen next in order to make money. Those are the wise words of Mark Douglas, and fantastic author. And if you're struggling with your trading, a great book to read. Anyways, y'all have a great night. I hope this helps some people. We'll talk to you soon. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. See you tomorrow.